had no idea what was happening because I was just a kid. And I think in a way it's better that I didn't know too much.
Although Nadia Comaneci's extraordinary mystique is well known, the true tales of her troubled journey remain unknown. Yet at long last, they are making an appearance. In a sport where perfection was once thought to be unreachable, the remarkable Romanian woman made history by becoming the first and youngest gymnast to accomplish the feat. As disturbing as that may sound, there is an unseen side to her story. Nadia Comaneci has recently shed light on some of these obscure elements, establishing what had been assumed or disregarded before. What macabre truths are concealed behind Nadia's much-lauded achievements? From that bleak predicament, how did she manage to escape? Get ready to be amazed as we unveil the way Nadia Comaneci solidified our suspicions. Romanian gymnast Nadia Comaneci was born on November 12, 1961, in the little hamlet of Onesti in the Carpathian Mountains. Her rise to fame began soon after. Nadia was the typical hyperactive child, a veritable tornado of laughter and boundless energy who bounced joyfully off walls. Her parents, seeing her limitless energy, thought gymnastics would be a good outlet for it and signed her up. Upon entering the gym, Nadia felt a complete shift in her energy. Now it seemed like the entire universe had parted, and it wasn't even about blowing off steam. Embracing her limitations, learning new tricks, and soaring through the skies were all things that captivated her. Gymnastics went from being a recreational activity to a driving force in her life. In what ways was that devotion transformed into a skill that was recognized all around the world? Could you tell me the challenges she faced? The details can be explored. When Nadia Comaneci joined a local gymnastics team called Flăcara, meaning the flame, and trained with instructors Duncan and Munteanu, she began her road to gymnastics. Being introduced to gymnastics at such a young age set the stage for a remarkable career. While Nadia was a young gymnast, her first exposure to organized training came from her local team, the Flame. Her early experiences, coached by Duncan and Munteanu, perhaps sparked her interest in the sport and set the stage for her future achievements. Undoubtedly, fate had lofty ambitions for young Nadia. Renowned gymnastics coach Bella Caroli saw her talent when she was just 6 years old, while she was still searching for future stars. After seeing Nadia and her buddy perform cartwheels in a playground, Bella couldn't help but notice their undeniable skill. His goal in opening his experimental gymnastics school was to develop young gymnasts into professionals, and he invited her to join at that same time. Nadia began her gymnastics experience in 1968, when she was 7 years old, as a pupil of Bella. The gymnastics school, established by Bella and his wife Marta, was right in her birthplace of Onesti, so she enrolled there as one of the first pupils. Her regimen included 3 hours of intense exercise every day, overseen by Bella. Despite Nadia's early falls in amateur contests, Bella kept believing in her by insisting that she work hard. With her newfound proficiency, she was able to turn her falls into elegant, painless landings. Until Nadia became the youngest gymnast to win the Romanian Nationals in 1970, she was 9 years old. The next year, she made her international debut in a dual junior meet against Yugoslavia. She won her first all-around title and helped her team win gold. While competing in dual meets with nations like Poland, Hungary, and Italy, she maintained her dominance in Romanian national contests the following years. At the Juvenile Friendship Tournament, an international competition for juvenile gymnasts, Nadia accomplished an incredible achievement in 1973 at the young age of 11, marking the beginning of her ascent to Olympic success. In addition to winning the vault and uneven bars events, she took home the all-around gold medal, proving her dominance on the international gymnastics arena. When Nadia made her international gymnastics debut at the European Championships in Ski Norway in 1975, she was just 13 years old. Her performance stunned the globe. Every event she competed in, with the exception of the floor exercise, which she won a gold medal in, she almost swept the floor. With this, Nadia's ascent began its spectacular ascent. This was the year she kept winning, taking first place in every event at the Champions All-Around and the Romanian national championships in vault, bars, all-around, and beam. Nadia had competition, though. The great Soviet gymnast Nelly Kim was one of her main adversaries. Nadia bravely challenged herself, coming up with new ideas and honing her abilities despite her youth and lack of experience. A trio of gold medals were bestowed upon Nelly Kim, who triumphed in the vault and floor exercise finals, in addition to the team competition. The energetic tone was established by her floor act, which included a raging samba and was choreographed by Valentina Kosolapova. It was a watershed moment when Nelly did the first-ever double back salto in the women's Olympic sports. In contrast, Nadia won the gold medal in all-around gymnastics after a fierce battle between her and her competitors on the bars and the balancing beam. She clearly mastered gymnastics, since her routines were consistently flawless. Despite Nelly Kim's impressive performance, the all-around title went to Comaneci because to her outstanding beam performance and better preliminary score. Nelly Kim came in second place. As far as gymnastics rivalries go, the one involving Nadia Comaneci and Nelly Kim is among the most interesting. Both gymnasts pushed each other to new heights during their fierce rivalry for gold medals in the late 1970s. Nadia finally broke through to the American stage in March 1976, when she was 14 years old, when she crossed the Atlantic to compete in the first American Cup in New York City's Madison Square Garden. Bart Conner, a young American gymnast, was someone she met at this tournament. Although Nadia would remember the meeting with fondness years later, Bart recalled it with fondness much earlier. Undetected, this fortuitous meeting would give rise to a lovely bond, and in due time, a love tale that would last a lifetime. The panels of Olympic history would eternally bear Nadia's name only a few months down the road. She was prepared to make an impression at the 1976 Summer Olympics in Montreal, Canada, and the scene was set. In wonder, spectators around the globe saw the 14-year-old gymnast's uneven bar routine on July 18, 1976. A flawless score of 10 was hers for her mesmerizing performance. However, instead of showing 10, the scoreboard showed just 1 because it wasn't made to show such a high number. Fans' initial bewilderment soon gave way to jubilation as they grasped the significance of the moment. Nadia had achieved an Olympic record by scoring a flawless 10. This event redefined the boundaries of gymnastics and changed the sport forever. The news of Nadia's flawless score went viral, and she became famous overnight. After that, Nadia's performance in the remaining competitions was nothing short of brilliant, and she ended up winning 3 golds, 1 silver, and 1 bronze. The world of gymnastics turned a corner when Nadia performed in the Montreal Olympics. It wasn't only a personal achievement for her. She broke the record for the youngest gymnast to win the all-around title at the age of 14, and her accomplishment remains a source of national pride for Romania. Now that gymnasts are required to be at least 14 years old to compete, Nadia's record is nearly unbeatable due to the new, stringent age-qualifying restrictions. On a worldwide scale, Nadia's influence went beyond only recordings. Her exquisite routines and flawless 10s drew spectators from all over the globe and sparked a revival in gymnastics. As her fame grew, posters of her appeared all throughout Romania, and her name was incessantly discussed on television. Athlete of the Year was her title from the Associated Press, while Overseas Sports Personality of the Year was bestowed to her by the BBC. Romanians celebrated her success with great fervor when she returned home. She was so beautiful that the communist regime couldn't help but lavish her with praise. Nicolae Ceausescu, the leader of Romania, knighted Nadia, the youngest Romanian ever to earn the honor, for her work as a socialist worker. The public praised Nadia's spectacular performances, but the state used her as a propaganda poster child. Thus, her fame had a double-edged blade. Another unanticipated aspect of Nadia Comaneci's history became entangled with a song named Nadia's Theme at the 1976 Olympics. This instrumental piece, originally named Cotton's Dream, wasn't written for Nadia. It was included in the soundtrack for the 1971 film Bless the Beasts and Children. and went on to become the theme music for the American soap opera The Young and the Restless. In 1976, though, American sportscaster Robert Rye utilized Cotton's Dream to accompany slow-motion montages of Nadia's performance on ABC's Wide World of Sports. The combination worked well. Nadia's elegant motions seemed to waltz in perfect sync with the music. It was a top 10 smash in the autumn of 1976 when the song struck a chord with listeners. In an effort to pay proper honor to the 14-year-old gymnast who had captivated millions of fans and rewrote the gymnastics rulebook, songwriters Barry Dvorak and Perry Botkin Jr. formally changed the song's name to Nadia's Theme, acknowledging its relationship with Nadia's astounding climb to fame. For some reason, Nadia's floor workout music was never Nadia's theme. In fact, it was a completely different tune. Nadia came back to the European Championships in 1977, prepared to defend her all-around title and keep her reign as gymnastics queen alive. Even though they had absolutely fantastic performances, the event finals were marred by controversy. Some judges noticed irregularities and inconsistencies in the scoring of some routines, which caused some to question the accuracy and fairness of the process. The notoriously authoritarian and repressive Romanian dictator Nicolae Ceausescu took notice of the scandal. Ceausescu felt his nation's gymnasts were being unfairly treated and made a snap decision. He ordered Nadia and the rest of the Romanian team to quit the tournament right once. At the lowest point in her journey, Nadia made this terrible decision, which shocked the audience and caused controversy throughout the world. After winning the Olympic gold medal in 1976, Nadia faced several challenges. The youthful gymnast was physically and mentally exhausted from competing at a high level, dealing with the intense monitoring of the Romanian government and the pressures of fame. She was left to practice in Bucharest alone after the contentious 1977 European Championships without the support of her regular coach or friends. There was a mental and physical toll this had on her on top of the normal aging process. Nadia felt increasingly stifled as her feeling of independence and solitude was eroded by the continuous vigilance of the Securitate, the Romanian secret police. The culmination of the strain came in August 1978, when an official at the August Sports Hotel in Bucharest interrupted her while she was doing laundry. In her moment of sorrow, Nadia ingested a cup of laundry detergent, trapping herself and overwhelming her. This tragic event resulted in her 2-day hospitalization. While Nadia's biography was full of incredible achievements, Olympic gold, and the revolution she brought to gymnastics, it also exposed a shadowy side, a regime of Romanian control and concealment. The Securitate had infiltrated her training facility in Onesti and planted informants among the coaches and personnel as early as 1975, leading to rumors about the extent of her surveillance. Not even Nadia's illustrious coach, Bela Caroli, could evade the constant observation, who went by the codename Tona. In order to keep his instructor accountable and document his gymnast's development, Bela turned informant himself. Choreographer Geza Pozar did double duty for Nadia, creating stunning floor routines while simultaneously keeping an eye on things and speaking out against Bela's rigorous training techniques and the damage they caused to the young gymnasts. As long as Bela brought medals for Romania, the government opted to ignore the cries for help and concerns about the abusive training techniques, putting national pride ahead of the health and safety of the young athletes. 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, Bela would endure her notoriously intense training sessions. Bela Caroli, Nadia's coach, looked over her players' shoulders and became preoccupied with their weight. The team's bulimia epidemic began when Baia resorted to starving members he considered overly heavy, causing terrible psychological and physical effects. The invisible trials of athletes must be acknowledged as we dive into their stories of triumph over adversity. Under an iron grip, Nadia's illustrious gymnastics career blossomed, highlighting a controlled system that put medals ahead of health. Even in modern times, rumors of manipulation, abuse, and pressure persist among the top sports community, illuminating the hidden struggles endured by young athletes who are frequently separated from their loved ones. Detailed in a disturbing 1974 informants report, the gymnastics world was a hard place for these teenage competitors. A number of gymnasts, notably Nadia Comaneci, suffered nosebleeds as a consequence of the severe beatings they endured. They were also subjected to strenuous physical activities that would leave them completely drained. A darker aspect of the sport that frequently exalts its champions is exposed by this alarming revelation. In addition to his physical abuse, coach Bela Karolyi resorted to degrading verbal attacks, creating a poisonous environment as detailed in the reports. According to rumors, Karolyi fostered an abusive environment for the gymnasts by calling them fat cows and pigs, in addition to the physical assault. More proof that Karolyi took advantage of the gymnasts' efforts is that he was accused of keeping some of their prize money from international tournaments. The stubborn attitude that Karolyi had in his response to the criticism was on full display when he declared that he was never content and that he relentlessly pursued achievement. He cared more about winning than about the gymnasts under his care. That puts the intense and sometimes harmful culture of that time period's top gymnastics in context. In 1981, when the coach defected to the U.S., accusations of harsh practices surfaced. In contrast to the American champions who were trained by Karolyi and Martha, Comaneci chose to stay silent about the subject. Regarding their relationship to Larry Nassar, the former doctor for the USA national gymnastics team who was found guilty of sexual assault, the Karolyis denied harassing or abusing gymnasts at their U.S. training facilities. The years after her unsuccessful suicide attempt in 1978 were a wild ride for Nadia. While Nadia had grown in stature and weight since Montreal, she shown remarkable tenacity in the 1978 World Championships in Strasbourg by placing fourth in the all-around, taking first place on the balance beam, and placing second on the vault. Nadia returned to Dava, the training camp managed by Bela Karolyi, after the championships, choosing to persevere through the tough routine. In the end, an interview from 1977 that was discovered in the Securitate files allowed Nadia Comaneci's voice to be heard. Our suspicions had been validated. Her extensive maltreatment was laid bare by the interview, which was never published, but was just discovered. The incident of insults, slaps, food deprivation, and criticism for a slight increase in weight was corroborated by Nadia. After her disappointment with Karolyi was evident, she said she couldn't bear to look at him. Regardless of gender, Nadia broke new ground in 1979 when she became the first gymnast to ever win 3 straight European all-around titles. At the World Championships in Fort Worth, Texas later that year, she not only won the all-around competition, but also the compulsory rounds. Determined to compete on the balance beam and help Romania win their first team gold medal ever, Nadia defied medical advice and left the hospital before the optional rounds, even though she had injured her wrist. In 1980, at the Moscow Olympics, Nadia experienced a one-of-a-kind chapter among political tensions, the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, and a boycott spearheaded by the United States. She conquered the obstacles and came out on top, earning 2 gold and 2 silver medals. Although she won the all-around and floor exercise competitions, her victories were overshadowed by controversy when Bela Karolyi protested the scoring, which was shown live on television. In Romania, Bela's relationship with the authorities was strained, and his life became more difficult as a result of the Romanian government's wrath caused by this public outburst. Athletes at the highest level are subject to intricate power relations, as Nadia's story demonstrates. As she experienced both success and failure, the invisible challenges that occurred behind the scenes serve to emphasize the sacrifices that athletes make in their pursuit of greatness. An amazing opportunity was given to Nadia by the Romanian Gymnastics Federation in 1981, marking the beginning of a new chapter in her journey. She is one of the lucky few who will be taking part in the Nadia 881 Tour of America. At this prominent occasion, she was the center of attention, with her trainers, the omnipresent Bela and Marta Karolyi, guiding the group. There was an interesting potential that Nadia may reunite with Bart Conner, a young American gymnast whom she had met briefly at the 1976 Olympics, and the trip offered her the chance to see the world outside of Romania under the regime's careful eye. According to Nadia, Bart Conner was endearing as he chatted up everyone on the bus and bounced about. He was a breeze to be around and a lot of fun, but something surprising happened to Nadia on the final day of her American tour, and it altered the trajectory of her life. A number of her trainers, including Marta and Bela Karolyi of Romania and Geza Pozar of that country, decided to desert in a shocking fashion. Even asking Nadia in a roundabout way if she wanted to defect was one of Bela's subtle hints that they were planning to defect. When Nadia was younger and homesick, she had no intention of leaving Romania. Her determination to go back to her old life was something she told her coach. Her decision to stay loyal would have far-reaching effects, which Nadia was unaware of at the time. She was subject to strict censorship by the Romanian government because of her status as a national treasure and possible escape danger. Less freedom of movement within the country meant less access to the vast, uncharted world beyond. The government began keeping a careful eye on Nadia, making her feel like a prisoner even in her own country. In the same year, Nadia competed in the World University Games in Bucharest, her homeland, which would be her last big tournament. Problems dogged this victorious departure, though. She dominated the floor exercise, vault, and all-around events with virtually flawless scores, even if her routines weren't as spectacular as usual. Not only did many see this as clear partiality, but many veteran journalists voiced their disapproval. The Nadia 881 tour finished, and for a while after, nobody spoke about Nadia's tale. As long as the Romanian government was afraid she would defect, they tightly controlled her every move. A once regular advantage of her fame, international travel, is now little more than a pipe dream. Nadia was strictly limited to a handful of closely supervised excursions to Cuba and Moscow, while she remained confined within Romanian boundaries. On the other hand, she discovered her calling in a more intimate setting at this period, when she took a seat on the opposite side of the podium to mentor aspiring gymnasts. From what I've heard, she was an inspiring teacher who won her students' hearts and minds. For Nadia, the 1984 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles had an unusual turn. One communist country that surprised everyone by choosing to compete was Romania. For her part, Nadia alludes to the possibility that Romania and the U.S. may have made a pact to forestall defections later in her narrative, fueling further conjecture about the matter. Even though it was a bittersweet duty, serving as an observer in Los Angeles allowed her to reunite with her former coach, Bela Karolyi, while keeping her away from the competitive arena. Became a citizen of the United States 3 years ago, Bela had defected with his wife Marta, abandoning Nadia in Romania. Mary Lou Retton, an aspiring American star, was his proud student in Los Angeles, where he oversaw her 5-medal performance, including the gold. Nadia felt a range of feelings on her post-retirement journey, including pride in her former master Bela Karolyi and a twinge of regret over the life she may have led had she listened to him. Meeting up with Bela again wasn't a picnic, though. Romanian officials were so concerned that Nadia would desert again that they monitored her closely and forbade her from communicating with her previous instructor. Around the same time, Nadia retired from competitive swimming and held a huge ceremony to celebrate the occasion, which was dubbed a farewell to Nadia. Reporters and dignitaries from all over the world flocked to Romania to be a part of this historic occasion, which celebrated her accomplishments and signaled the departure of an era. Many people had unrealistic expectations for Nadia's life after retirement. A brutal reality of seclusion and control replaced the luster of Olympic greatness. As she pondered on her past financial independence, Nadia said, "When my gymnastics career was over, there was no longer any need to keep me happy. She went on to compare herself to a puppet, expecting to be obeyed just as she had been her whole life. She would not, however, allow her spirit be entirely tamed. In November 1989, she bravely joined a group of Romanians who were resolute in their mission to flee the tyrannical dictatorship. This was only weeks before the Romanian Revolution. Constantin Panait, a Romanian defector who became a U.S. citizen, led them on a perilous trek through which they concealed from patrols and walked largely at night. A jet was waiting to transport them to freedom in the United States after they walked across Hungary and Austria. Controversy ensued over Nadia's flight from Romania. Some saw her as a house wrecker since she accepted support from Constantin Panait, who was married. Her narrative presented a different image, detailing her ordeal at Panait's hands and the cruelty she endured. After escaping Panait's clutches with the assistance of fellow Romanian immigrant Alexander Stefu, Nadia was welcomed with open arms by the Stefu family. Death came as a further cruel blow to Stefu in a vehicle accident. While Nadia's grief was threatening to consume her, she discovered comfort in an unexpected connection: a former Olympic gymnast named Bart Connor. Nadia followed Bart's 1991 gymnastics school opening in Oklahoma and decided to relocate there. Their friendship blossomed into something more romantic over the course of 4 years, leading up to their engagement and the memorable homecoming that was their wedding in 1996. With the fall of the communist dictatorship, Nadia returned to Romania and celebrated a new capitalist era with a live broadcast wedding in Bucharest. There was no turning point in Romania's turbulent history like the death of Nicolae and Elsa Ceausescu. After decades of tyranny, the nation's repressive dictatorship came crashing down with its spectacular fall. Allegations of financial corruption and human rights violations were among the many that were brought against them. Each of them received a death penalty sentencing. As their romance progressed in the revamped Romania, Nadia and Bart made a 1997 guest appearance on the hit show Touched by an Angel, where they demonstrated their dancing skills with a quick floor routine. Nadia converted to American citizenship in 2001 and has maintained dual citizenship ever since. In 2006, their love story reached a touching new chapter when Nadia's life was transformed by the arrival of their son, Dylan. Her 2012 speech at Monticello's 50th annual Independence Day naturalization ceremony was historic, since it was the first time an athlete had ever been asked to speak at this gathering of newly naturalized citizens. Nadia isn't kicking back and enjoying life. On the contrary, she's passionately involved in the sport she loves. At their gymnastics academy in Oklahoma, Nadia and Bart have created more than simply a training facility. They have created a community where aspiring gymnasts can learn from Olympic gold medalists. The firm that Nadia co-founded with Bart, Perfect 10 Productions, allows her to continue sharing her love of gymnastics with the globe. They bring the sport's enchantment into people's living rooms, where it inspires and delights them. Nadia's unwavering commitment to her hometown is just as admirable. She continues to provide financial assistance and priceless personal support to Romania's gymnastics program, which she passionately supports. The opportunity to practice in the U.S. with its many training techniques and cultures is one of her programs that Romanian gymnasts may take advantage of. All eyes are on you now. Please watch one more of our engaging videos and subscribe to our channel before you go. After this, I will see you.